In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 greens for protein. Now, the reason we're doing this is because the other day I ate an entire kilogram of spinach and it filled me up like crazy. And I went and looked on Chronometer after to see how much protein there was really in there. And it was a lot of protein. It was like 30 grams of protein in a kilogram of spinach. And so then I did more research on spinach and I found out that, hey, you actually shouldn't be eating spinach every day because there's so much oxalic acids in spinach. And so they said to rotate your greens around. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick the top 10 greens and rotate these, and we'll see how they compare. We'll see how all these other greens compare with protein. So as you can see, a kilogram of spinach right off the bat, it's got 28 grams of protein, plus not to mention all the other nutrients, of course, very, very high in pretty much everything. But let's see how everything else compares, okay? So we've got lettuce, iceberg lettuce. Does it really have that much protein? Not really. 9 grams of protein for an entire kilogram. Romaine lettuce, is it any better? 12 grams of protein. Okay, a little bit better, but not compared to spinach, really. Cabbage, is cabbage any better? It's a completely different family, but still only 12 grams of protein. Bok choy, is it any better? 15 grams of protein. Okay, we're getting there, but still half the amount as spinach. Swiss chard, not a huge fan of Swiss chard personally, but 18 grams of protein, so we're getting there. For a whole kilogram, you're getting 18 grams of protein, not bad. Watercress, pretty nasty. I'm not a huge fan of watercress either, but a good amount of protein, 23 grams for an entire kilogram. Not bad. Arugula, I do love arugula, but I'm not sure I could eat an entire kilogram of arugula, but it does have 25 grams of protein, so that's pretty damn good. Spinach, as we know, like I said, a whole kilogram of spinach brings in a whopping 28 grams of protein, and kale brings in even more at 29 grams of protein. So almost the same as spinach, but a little bit more. And as far as 1,000 grams, or a kilogram, I should say, of collard greens, looks like we're actually getting 30 grams of protein. So that is the highest that I've been able to find. And if you go out of the greens category and into the sprouts, what you'll find is alfalfa sprouts for an entire kilogram actually bring in a whopping 40 grams of protein. So very, 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 very high source of protein in alfalfa sprouts. I haven't checked on any of the other sprouts because this video is dedicated to just the greens. Just wanted to see how alfalfa sprouts would compare. So that's it. That wraps up this video showing you all of the top 10 greens for protein. I hope you like this video. And just something to keep in mind, eating that much spinach every day, probably not the healthiest thing because of all the oxalic acids. And as far as eating all that kale, that's probably not good as well, especially if you have issues with iodine. If you're consuming kale, that can interfere with iodine uptake or iodine uptake. And it's just important to rotate your greens. I remember my friend Tara, she's actually on YouTube right now. Her YouTube name is like Living Free, I think. Really cool chick. And I remember she was saying how one day or 1 week she was just eating purely just like Swiss chard and just say Swiss chard for like an entire week or something. And afterwards, she felt like crap and her skin was like breaking out. And turns out if you eat just too much of like one green, it can start interfering with your body in negative ways. So it's important to rotate your greens. And I wanted to give you an overlook of what your protein intake would be if you were to consume a kilogram of all these different greens. So as you can see, some are very, very high in protein and others are very, very low. But probably the easiest way to get these greens in is to either cook them and mix them with your quinoa meal or whatever, or just juice them and then drink back the juice. But either way, that's an overlook, and I hope you learned something from this video. If you like it and you want to learn more, click the thumbs up button. I would appreciate it. And if you want to find out how to get 100 grams of protein into your day with less than 2,000 calories on a raw vegan diet or a cooked vegan diet, I'll post a link for that in the description of this video. That's it for now. Peace out. Much love. See you in the next video.